Everyone, thanks for joining today's webinar where we'll be talking about setting up Desk.com. Let's go ahead and get started. All right, so my name is Brian Suh, and I'm the onboarding and training specialist here at Desk. And it's my job to create content for our customers to learn our product better. So if you have any suggestions or feedback, please do send them my way. A few housekeeping items. Today's training portion of the webinar will last just about 45 minutes. And if you have any questions, then please feel free to type them into the GoToWebinar questions panel, and we'll get those answered towards the end of, during the Q&A session. As always, today's session is being recorded. So if you like to simultaneously watch the video as you set up your own instance of Desk, then we'll be sending out that recording shortly after the session. And also, if you can stay with us for the entire time, we'll also be sending out the recording as well. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So today we'll be walking through the setup journey and addressing some common configuration questions. Specifically, I'll cover these questions. These topics, key business questions to ask your team before starting to set up Desk. I'll work through a demo setup for your bike shop. We'll also discuss some more advanced features that you may be interested in for your team to explore maybe at a later stage. Then we'll review what we've learned in today's session, and then we'll set you up with next steps and resources for you to configure your own Desk site. Lastly, we'll then stop for some Q&A time. All right, now as you may have already noticed, Desk is very configurable. When you start working through your setup, consider what type of experience you want to provide for your customers. You may want to launch with a basic setup that allows you to quickly answer only customer email inquiries, for instance. Think of this as the getting from A to B version. Or perhaps you want to take your time and really customize this before you work with your customers. In this version, you could have a full support center enabled and support multiple social media channels as well as email. It's really up to you. Today, we'll focus on setting up the A to B version just to get you started. Now, before you dive right into the Desk setup, I think it's a good idea to take a step back and reflect on your business, your customers, and their needs. I'd like to start with these 5 questions. First, what types of customers do you have? Second, why do your customers contact you? Thirdly, what methods and channels do they use to contact you? Next, how many inquiries do you get each day? And lastly, what are those pain points and problems that you're looking to resolve? So to help us think through some of these questions and the Desk setup, let's say I run a local bike shop. Let's call it Bay Cycles. And our motto here at Bay Cycles is a bike ride a day keeps a doctor away. And we carry all types of bikes. Now, we have 2 types of customers really, cyclists who buy our products and vendors who supply my shop. Now, the main problem I'm facing is a lack of visibility into why our customers are contacting us, and I have no real way to provide data or reports about our support efforts to our management team. So I've asked my team the previous 5 questions, and I've discovered some really good information. Cyclists contact us for 3 main reasons: bike sales, service, and events. Next, the bike types we get questions about are cruisers, commuters, and road bikes. Then the events we host are Friday fun rides, monthly 10K rides, and annual races. I also found out that these customers contact our shop mostly by email and phone, and it's the shop staff who handles most of these questions. Now, I also think of our vendors as customers as well. Vendors contact us about new products, orders, and promotions. And it's really important for us to respond to them in a timely fashion. So it's important that we track their questions in Desk as well. Now, based on this overview of my bike business, I'm going to create a data model that I can configure in Desk. So let's see what this looks like. So if a cyclist contacts us, they may ask us about an upcoming event. Maybe our Friday friend ride, where and when the ride starts, ends, and how long it is. Or maybe they might contact us about the types of bikes we carry. Now, if it's a vendor contacting us, they may want to tell us about a new promotion that they're having, maybe about their mission bikes and featuring the Revalencia model. So from my bike shop, these are the main things I get contacted about, and this is the information I want to capture for reporting purposes. When we start to configure our desk site, the main categories seen here are going to be stored in what we call custom fields. So let's take a bird's eye view look of how the system works. When a customer, let's say Josh, sends me an email, Desk enables me to process that email based on its unique attributes like who it's from, who it's being sent to, the subject line, and so on. Based on these unique attributes, I can configure Desk to take certain actions through the rules engine. One example of a rule for a new inbound email from Josh is to assign it to a specific member, team member. Emily is one of my staff members, and she typically handles most emails from cyclists, so I'll directly assign her cases from customers like Josh. I'm going to ask Emily to capture information like the contact reason in the custom fields for all cases. That way, we can keep track of our customer inquiry trends. Now, when Emily replies to Josh, she can directly type her answer or use pre-created messages called macros to speed up her reply for frequently asked questions. When Des sends the email out to Josh, it'll apply a look and feel based on a specific email reply template that I can actually modify. Now that I'm prepared with my data model and I have an overview of Desk, of how Desk works, let's talk about the specific tasks that I need to complete in order to customize Desk for my bike business. Now, I've prepared a list of 10 steps to set up in Desk. The first step, I'll keep my implementation really simple and only enable the email channel for the time being. When I'm ready, I can always go back and enable my phone and social media channels in Desk. Secondly, based on my business needs, I'll take those categories like customer type, contact reason, and create custom fields so my team can easily capture this information on cases. In step 3, I'll add a colleague to help me test out my configuration. When I'm done testing, I'll add other team members as well. In step 4, I'm going to leverage a desk automation by creating an inbound rule to correctly route the vendor and cyclist questions to respective management and staff team members. In step 5, I'm going to customize the inbox view for my team and clearly show the vendor and cyclist cases separately in what we call filters. In step 6, I'll turn on the auto acknowledgement rule, which is an immediate response that Desk sends to a customer when they contact us. That way, they know we received their inquiry. In step 7, I'll create a macro, which is essentially a canned response or message for common questions. In step 8, I'll turn on the Desk email notification for new interactions. That way, my staff is notified whenever a case comes into Desk. In step 9, I'll test my setup first with the built-in support email from Desk. And finally, after additional testing, I can connect my real support email to Desk so I can start handling real customer inquiries. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into Desk. So as an administrator on the site, I have access to customize all parts of my application for the bike shop. We're now here in what we call the admin console, and I am logged in as an administrator, so I do have access to this console. So let me give you a brief overview of this console. So what we first landed on here when you log in is going to be the dashboard. This is kind of like a jumpstart platform for you guys. Here are highlighted some articles that you can visit, and this will take you to our support center that'll have kind of an end-to-end guide walkthrough of setting up a single team or for multiple teams, and also direct you to some mini workflows. On the right-hand side, we have our recommended setup items. So basically, as you set up these items, it'll check off as completed as you see here. And any items that are remaining, it'll kind of indicate that through with an open circle. All right, so for today's training, we're going to spend the majority of our time in these setup areas at the top here, specifically team, channels, and cases. In our content area, which we'll cover in later webinars, this is where you can create knowledge-based articles for your customers to display on your support center. And here are our apps. So you also have the ability to integrate with third-party apps that are listed here. So take a look at that. Also, one more thing that I did want to point out here in the admin area is the gear icon, which are settings. And these are going to be more global settings for your desk instance, so check that out as well. So let's actually also take a look at what my current agent view looks like as well. So to get there, I'm going to click on admin here. And again, let me actually talk briefly through these as well. The classic agent is one of our agent consoles. It's our older generation of the agent console. Our next gen agent is, again, the newer generation of the classic version. Again, we'd highly recommend when starting to use Desk that you use the next gen agent console. This is where, in fact, where we'll continue to make improvements in Desk and add features. And again, it's also skinned with our modern look and feel. Business Insights is another area where you do need to have admin level permissions to access this, but this is our reporting module for Desk. And then lastly, Get Help. This will just link you out to our support center where you can find articles and videos. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into the next gen agent. So what it lands us on is going to be our universal inbox. So let me walk you through the navigation bar first of all here. This icon, which we call our hamburger, allows you to navigate to different areas of Desk, which we've already talked about. The inbox icon here, that'll take you back to this page whenever you navigate away from it. Let's say you hop into a case, but you want to go back to this home page. This icon is how you do it. Here is our quick search option. And this button is how we create cases, whether it be phone, email, or once we enable your social media channels, they'll be here as well. We have our avatar button, which has some basic settings as well. Now on the right-hand side, we have our case filters. We'll talk a little bit more about this in just a little bit, but case filters are basically dynamic views that surface cases. Again, cases don't live in filters. Again, filters just surface them to the universal inbox. On the right-hand side is going to be our cases that come into any of these filters. You can hover over them to see a quick preview. And let's actually go ahead and click into a case real quick to see what this looks like. So the first thing you'll notice here on the left-hand side is the customer information. And then you also see the specific company information as well. And then you notice that this case opened up as a tab on the top. So you can open multiple cases and they're all lined up here so that you can switch in between working on cases. In the middle here is going to be the case interactions between you and the customer. So those threads will populate here. Below that, we can take some action by actually typing in a response to a customer, or we can type a note to another agent. And then on the right-hand side, we have our case details. This is going to be really valuable for us because this is where we can capture a lot of really great information, like the status, priority, or once we set up our custom fields, they'll also show up in this right-hand area. All right. One other thing that I wanted to show you is going to be your support center. So out of the box, your desk site does come with a support center. And again, this is where customers can read articles or read FAQs. They can also contact you via email through this contact form as well. So you do have this out of the box. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with step one. We're going to go ahead and enable our email channel. So I'm going to hop over to the admin console here. And let's just go back to the dashboard. So my first step, I'm going to review the channels, and I'm going to make sure that only the email channel is enabled by going into channels here. And I'm going to disable all of them except for the email channel for now. So once again, we're in channels, and first thing we're going to look at is the support center. I'm going to go ahead and go to the advanced settings, and then I'm going to go ahead and disable this channel and update. Then I'm going to go to email and make sure this one is in fact enabled. I'll go to advanced settings. All right. And this is enabled. Perfect. I'll leave it as is. And then I'll go to my chat channel and go to advanced settings here. And it's also disabled. Perfect. I'll update. And then I did notice earlier that my phone channel was on, so we will have to disable that here. So we'll go ahead and disable there and update. And I'll do the same for Twitter. I'll go to Twitter, advanced settings, and this one has been disabled, so great. I'm just going to cancel that for now. And then lastly, I'll go to Facebook, advanced settings, and this one has also been disabled, so perfect. Now I can confirm all these changes that only the email inbox has been enabled by going to the agent panel. And let me actually exit out of this and give it a quick refresh. And I'm refreshing just so that the changes that we just made are have taken place here. So I'm going to click on the case creation button, and yes, it looks like email is the only channel that is enabled right now. So perfect. All right. So step two, we're going to go ahead and create custom fields. So we're going to create these custom fields based on the bike shop categories that we talked about. So we're going to we're here in the admin panel. We're going to go to cases. And once again, we'll go to cases on the left-hand panel. And then it automatically opens us up to custom fields. Now, let's go ahead and walk through just adding one here. So one of the categories that I wanted to set for the case details was customer type. So I can do that here. And then I want to go ahead and give it a key. So what this key is this is used to reference this specific custom field throughout many different areas of the product, such as creating themes. So it's important not to include any spaces. So I want to create it in a way that I can remember it pretty easy. So I can just go ahead and name it customer underscore type here as so. And then the data type that I want to include is going to be actually a list view, because I have, right now I have two types of customers. So I can go ahead and add values to this custom field by clicking on the plus icon here. And then first one I'll go ahead and add is cyclist. And then the next one I want to add is going to be vendor. Perfect. All right, and if we did want to change the order of this, we can go ahead and use the up and down arrows to do that. Also, we have the option to select our default value. Now, if you did want your default value to be, let's say, cyclist, we can select top value to be our default value. But I'd recommend, especially for these list views, to just go ahead and leave it blank. So the way I'm going to do that is leave it as custom text. And in this area, I'm just going to leave it blank. So the default value will just be blank. Okay. Now I've already set this one up, so I'm going to go ahead and simply cancel out of this one. But let's take a look at some of the other ones that I've created. So bike model, this is another custom field that I've created here. So again, we can see the name, key, the data type is list, custom text, the default value is blank, and we've simply added just our list here. And I've done that with a couple of other ones such as bike type, contact reason, and email source. All right, now one thing to point out here is now this custom field is on the case object, but you can also create customer objects and company objects as well as custom fields. Now a good example of a company custom field would be the number of employees that belong to that company. All right, so next in our step, we want to go ahead and edit the case layouts. So these custom fields that I created, we can actually sort the order or how it appears in the case layouts. And let me show you what that looks like here. So if I hop into a case, and in our case details, if I scroll down just a little bit, here are our custom fields. So let's say that maybe I want the first custom field to be email source and the next one to be customer type. And maybe I want to change the look and feel of this just a little bit. So I can do that by going to our admin. We're already in cases and cases on the left-hand panel. And then we'll jump over to next gen case layouts. So we can go ahead and add case layout here, but let's actually go ahead and take a look at one of the ones I've already created. So I'm going to go ahead and simply click into the staff case layout. All right, so here we can not only change the layout and look for the custom fields, but we can also change our other default case details as well. So I can simply click on the status and reorder it as so. Or let's say that I wanted to maybe, instead of half length, I can go ahead and change the full length if I want as well. So again, we have some of our custom fields already listed here. If I wanted to pull in some additional ones from my other custom fields that I've set up, I can go ahead and click on it and drag it over. And also, let's say that, customer type. This is already listed here. Let's say for this one specifically, instead of half length, I want this to be full width. I can go ahead and do that as so. All right. Also, for these case layouts, you want to add specific team members to them. So if you wanted all of your team members to see them, then you would simply just list all of your members here. But then we can go ahead and select which people actually can see this. And then once you've made your changes and added your team members, we can go ahead and update. All right, perfect. So next, what we want to do is add staff members and create groups here in Desk. So we're going to do that through, once again, I'm still in the admin. I'm going to go to team. And then it populates us already to the users. We can go ahead and add user using the add user button here, but let's actually just take a look at my profile here. So I'm going to go ahead and click to edit it. So we simply add the name, email address. We can give it a public name. This is the name that your customers will see. We can decide to add a custom signature. We can also, as an admin, we can change the password if they need assistance with that. And we can also add people to various groups that already exist. And also, if at any time your agents maybe forgot their password or need help resetting their password, this is where you can do that. So I can expire the password, and it's going to email the agent a new password reset link. All right, so let's go ahead and just cancel this for now. All right, and we also want to create groups. So here in the team section, we can go to groups, and then we can simply just add a group here. We can just go ahead and give it a name. Let's go ahead and just give this owners, give the group name for owners. And then here, all of your members will appear here, and then we can simply select which ones we actually want to belong to this specific group, okay? And then let me just go ahead and cancel this for now. All right. So in our fourth step, we now want to create an inbound rule to assign cyclists and vendors to specific groups that we've created. Now, for this rule, I also want for let's say if someone emails our cyclist email address or our vendor's email address, I want this rule to also auto-populate my custom field for email source. So we want to make sure, first of all, that the custom field exists. So I'm going to go to cases, and once again, cases, and it populates us the custom field. And so the custom field that I want, again, I want this rule to auto-populate what email source is showing up on the case details. And another reason for this is because I can report on this as well. So I've already created our custom field for email source. I've added the two emails that I want to actually, that I'm going to receive emails from, and I can just go ahead and click update. So what we want to do next is go to cases which we are already in, and then we want to go to rules. Okay, so we can simply add a rule for our inbound interaction. Now we have lots of different types of rules. We have outbound interactions, case updated, but the one that we're specifically looking at is an inbound interaction, which means anytime a case comes into desk, this rule will act. So let's take a look at the one that I've already set up for cyclist emails here. So we've given it the name. And so there are two types of conditions, the all and any. So the first condition for the all is going to be that the case status that's coming in is a brand new case. So only when a new case do we want this rule to act. And then the second condition is going to actually be an any condition. The reason for this is that sometimes cyclists may enter our email into the to field in the email, but sometimes they actually like to CC us as well. So anytime that someone emails this email, basecycles101@gmail.com, either in the to field or the TC field, then this rule will also act. Now, these are the conditions. Now, the rule action that we want to happen is when the conditions are met, we want our custom field, which is email source, we want it to set to this specific email. And then we also want, when all the conditions are met, we want the case assignment group to automatically assign to the staff group. Okay, we want this rule to run at any time. And then now rules are not enabled by default, so we do have to actually enable it and then update as well. Now, the rule that I wanted to set up was for cyclists and vendors. So I can easily copy this rule because it's going to be a similar one using this icon here. And I've already set up the vendor one. Let's just take a quick look. So again, my conditions are that the case status is new. Now, slightly different, the any condition is whenever this email address for basecycles101 plus vendors@gmail.com, whenever someone enters this email address in the to field or CC field, then the email source custom field is set to basecycles101 plus vendors@gmail.com. And now, instead of the case assignment group being staff, we want this to go to management. And once again, we've set this rule to act at any time and we've enabled it. And we'll go ahead and update that as well. All right. So we've set up an inbound rule to automatically assign cyclist and vendor emails to specific groups and to auto-populate a custom field. The next thing we want to do is create a filter for vendor and cyclist cases. That way, when an agent is working, they can see specific cases for those vendor and cyclist emails. So the way that we'll do that is we're already in the admin and we're in cases already. And then at the very top here, we have filters. So here we can go ahead and add a filter. We can give it a name and a description. Once again, I've already created this, so let's take a look at the one that I've created here for cyclist emails. So this filter is going to surface emails whenever the email source custom field is Base Cycles 101, then this email will surface into this filter also, which kind of is a view in the agent console. And we will also want to indicate the permissions levels for this filter. So we can allow all users to see this filter, or maybe if it's a specific management group that we want to actually only see this filter, then we can select as so as well. We can also have this view for a specific user, agent user as well. Okay. There's also some sorting options as well. So I'm going to cancel any changes that I made. And now we did want to create a filter for cyclists and vendors. So again, we can copy this filter, but let's take a look at the vendor one that we've set up. Again, very similar. The email source, the custom field, if and when the email source is Base Cycles 101 plus vendors at gmail.com, then that case will surface into the vendor's email filter. And again, we've set this for all users and we've enabled it. All right, we'll go ahead and cancel for now. Now, the next thing that we want to do is enable the auto acknowledgement. So we're already in the admin, we'll go to cases, rules, and this is an inbound interaction rule. Now, this rule is already created for us. So all I have to do is turn it on. So here it is, send auto acknowledgement. Now, when a customer emails us, they'll get an instant reply that lets them know that we've received their case. So let's take a quick look at this rule. So the case status is new here. And you'll notice this all condition here. Hours since last auto acknowledgement is greater or equal to 24 hours. The reason that we add this is to prevent email wars between the desk auto acknowledgement and perhaps someone's out of office message. So if this rule wasn't there, then multiple emails would be just sent back and forth. Okay. And then the rule action that we want to happen when these conditions are met is that it sends an auto acknowledgement email using a system default reply theme. And again, you can create your own theme and customize it as well. So again, this is going to send an automatic response to a customer when they email your company. Again, we're going to set the rule to run at any time and make sure to enable the rule as well. All right, perfect. The next thing that we want to do is create a macro. When I initially spoke with the bike shop staff, they mentioned that customers often ask the same questions over and over. And one question in particular that we get a lot of questions about is our events. So I'm going to make their job a little bit easier and create a macro where they can save some typing and some time. So I'm going to go here. I'm in cases and we'll jump to macros. And then we can simply add a macro here. But once again, I'm going to go ahead and take a look at one that I've already created here. And again, this is a macro specifically for one of our events. So here we can see, let's scroll down first and first take a look at the CAN response. So this is the response that automatically gets applied when we use this macro. Now, one thing you'll notice is this item here. Customer.first_name, and this is in curly braces, in double curly braces. Whenever you see this, this is what we call a liquid variable in Desk. So this dynamically pulls in information. So this will pull in the customer's first name. So that'll prevent you guys from having to type the customer name or even just say something generic like hi customer. Okay, so this is what that macro does. It adds this CAN response, but not only does it do this, we can do a lot of additional things as well. Here, if we scroll down, we'll see that this macro can automatically set our custom field to Friday Fun Ride. Again, the event type is a custom field. Another custom field is customer type and contact reason. So it automatically populates these fields. So again, this is saving us probably 6 clicks for this case. Also, if we scroll to the top, it'll also allow us to maybe set a label, or we can change the priority or set the status, or even change the group assignment. So macros are really powerful. They're not only canned responses, but again, these are huge time savers for your agents. And again, we can go ahead and set the permissions for this macro for all users or specific groups or users. And lastly, we always want to make sure that we enable it before updating. All right, perfect. So let's actually take a quick look at what that macro looks like here. So if I jump into a case, here at the bottom, use macro, I can go ahead and select the cyclist event Friday Fun Night Ride. Or just a quick shortcut will be if you type in pound, and if you start typing in the name of the actual macro, then it'll auto-populate that for you here, and then I can go ahead and click in, and again, it adds the response. You notice that it auto-populated my name, and then it also updated a few of these custom fields for us. All right, so really powerful tool for you guys. All right, so let's hop back over to the admin. All right, so the next thing that we want to do is enable notifications for new cases. Now, this is similar to the auto acknowledgement, but this is a notification to the agent that a case has come in. So I'm going to go again to cases, which we're already in. We'll go to rules. Once again, it jumps us to the inbound interaction. And then once again, this has already been set up for us in Desk. This is already auto-populated in your Desk account, but let's take a quick look at what this looks like. So anytime any inbound interaction occurs, again, the reason for that is that we were leaving the all condition and any conditions just blank. So anytime any inbound interaction occurs from our email and our Q&A form from our support center, then the rule action is that it sends an email notification via the system default theme. And again, this is something that you can create multiple themes to display different types of message or whatnot. And again, we want this to run at any time, and we want to make sure it's enabled. All right, so perfect. So now it's time to go ahead and test. Anyone that wants to participate, you can go ahead and send me an email. And the email address, let me actually just pull it up here. And I'm going to send myself an email while I'm doing this as well. So I'm going to go to channels and go to email. So anyone that wants to participate, send an email into support@zzz-basecycles2.desk-mail.com. And I'll go ahead and type it into the chat window as well here. Give me just 1 second. All right, so I've entered it into the chat window. So if you'd like to go ahead and send me a test email, go ahead and do that. One of the benefits of sending a test email is also that you guys will be able to see what an auto acknowledgement looks like. All right, so let's actually just check our inbox. Let me just close this one for now without updating. All right, and this is my test email. So again, we successfully tested our email, make sure it does work. And again, the good thing for me to see is that I can see what that auto acknowledgement looks like on my side. Now, just a quick test question for you guys. Now, this email showed up in my inbox and not my cyclist and vendor email filters. Can you guys think of maybe why that might have happened? I'll give you guys just a couple seconds to think about that. Now, the reason why it didn't show up in my cyclist and vendor inbox is because number one, we sent it to our email support@zzbaycycles-mail.com. And now the email addresses for these specific filters is for cycles, it's baycycles101@gmail.com. And for vendor emails, it's baycycles101 plus vendors@gmail.com. So that's why we're not seeing our test cases in either of these filters, but it is showing up in our inbox here and our all cases here. And it looks like we got some other test emails. So great, thank you for that. I'll go ahead and send you guys just a quick reply here. And what I'll actually use, let me just go ahead and use that macro just so that you can see what that looks like. And again, you see that it auto-populated the email address. I'm going to go ahead and send. And then I'll go ahead and do that as well here. Again, thank you for your test cases. All right, perfect. So the last step of this would be to add your remaining team members. Also, now you can connect your real support email. From the get-go, Desk provides you with a support email address that you can provide to your customers. So without any additional setup, you have an inbox already just with Desk. Now you can also choose to connect your existing support emails with either a direct method using IMAP or through email forwarding. Email forwarding is the method that we recommend in order to get your cases into Desk quicker. There's a really great guide that's easy to follow that helps you step by step to connect your email. You can access it from the main admin page. Let's actually go there right now. So when I go to my dashboard, it's actually one of the recommended setup steps here. Set up email forwarding. Again, this is the recommended method for getting your existing support inbox emails into Desk. So this is just a wizard that'll take you through the process. Really simple. I highly recommend that you use this. So, all right. So that covers the majority of our basic Desk setup. Excuse me. You're probably wondering, where do I go from here? Now, there are a lot of really cool modules that you can set up in Desk. So let's take a look at a few of them. So I'm going to hop back over to my PowerPoint here. So previously, when Josh contacted us, he sent us a direct email. What I can also do is enable the Desk Support Center and create articles that that answers Josh questions. And again, he can answer his own questions by himself. This is a great option in cases where you have maybe hundreds, thousands to millions of users, or you have a community of developers, for instance, who prefer to answer the questions themselves. Now, if Josh can't answer his question from the support portal, he can still send us an email, but this time he can send it through the Desk contact form from your support center. This contact form can be highly customized. It can capture information that you would normally have your agents fill out in the custom fields. Now, we've already shown you an example of the auto acknowledgement. Now, you can customize it even further by adding your own branding and messaging so Josh has a consistent customer experience across all touchpoints. Then, when our colleague Emily is interacting with Josh, at the end of that interaction, we can also ask Josh how we did. This is the Customer Satisfaction Survey, or what we refer to as CSAT. And this will help you keep track of your customers and how they're feeling about their support experience with you. The cool thing is that CSAT is built right into your Desk email reply theme. And when you enable it, it'll appear to your customers in the email reply when your agents send and actually resolve a case. To enable it, you can navigate to the admin section under cases, then click CSAT. You can modify the question you ask, the smiley faces that your customers see, and also if you want to ask an additional question, you can do that. If you would like more information on this workflow, we have some articles on our support center, or feel free to email us at support@desk.com or phone in to get more information on that as well. All right. So let's recap what we've done in today's webinar. First, we reflected on our business with the 5 key questions. This helped us form our data model and what information we really need to capture on our cases. Then we went through our setup checklist and created rules to assign cases to groups. We created macros, and then we enabled auto acknowledgements for customers. Then we did a bit of testing by sending in cases to our support center. And lastly, we started exploring the question of what comes next after the basic setup. Now that you've had a chance to walk through a desk setup, it's your turn to set up desks for your own team. We've created a setup summary for the ADB version along with a reason for that setup and links to the desk support articles that'll give you more detail. So we will email out the deck as well as the recording, so you'll have this information directly sent to you guys. Now, I've also created a summary of some of those more common advanced features that you consider when you're ready. So check these out as well. Lastly, let's talk about resources and where to get help. Our desk support site has a wealth of videos and articles to help you answer all of your configuration questions. I've also provided a link here so you can explore for some other ideas of support centers that our other customers have built in. So this will just kind of get your brain kind of going in terms of what your support center could look like. Now, if you need a little bit more guidance or if you feel like you're a little bit stuck, then please feel free to contact our support team for additional help. Again, our support email is support@desk.com, or feel free to phone in via the US or international phone line. All right, with that, I want to wish you a happy and successful launch. So what we'll do right now is we'll go ahead and open up this time for some Q&A. While we're waiting for some Q&A, maybe I can actually just walk you through some of our resources. I talked about our our support center, but maybe I can just show you guys. So here is our support center, support.desk.com. Again, we have our articles broken off into topics for getting started, agent, admin, and even developer. You can go ahead and click in to browse the articles that we have here, or you can simply go ahead and type in a topic here. Let's say macros. And then it'll return a list of results, and it'll actually categorize them for you in terms of developer, admin, agent as well. And it combines the results of articles and videos. Another great thing is going to be our help. If you hover over help here, again, we have obviously our support articles, we have our video support center, and we have our system status here. This is really great because we want to be completely transparent about our desk status, so check that out as well. You can also contact us via the email form on our support center. Again, you can do this in addition to emailing support@desk.com. If we hover over help, we also have our other office webinars. Again, today you attended the admin training, but we also have our agent training as well as our Desk Connect office hours. All right, and let's hop back. And the last thing I kind of want to just show off here is, again, we can access our video support center here, but we also have our video support icon. So if we click on it, it opens up to our new video support center, and we'll click into it. Again, this is a really great resource for you guys. So webinars like this one, we actually post here to this area. We categorize them via admin videos and agent videos. Now, these videos consist of anywhere from 2 to 3 minute videos to half an hour to an hour long webinars. So So take a browse around and see kind of which of these topics are really useful for you guys.